show where I try to educate real stories.
Thank you for watching Truth and Justice with Vivian King. As you know, this is the show that I produce to educate people about the criminal justice system through stories. So tonight, I have a new guest here, but first I will introduce my faithful co-host, Mr. Danny Sneed.
My smile is my style.
Danny doesn't like to repeat this, but we'll repeat his experience is that he's done 15 years in prison many years ago, come out as a returning citizen, did all the things he's supposed to do. I really don't know too many people who've done it better than Danny. Danny's done it all, paid back child support, bought a house, bought cars, bought trucks, had jobs. Danny's done it. So if you want to know how to return as a citizen, talk to Danny Sneed, the encourager. And then we also have tonight Mr. RoShawn Evans. I think I used to pronounce your name wrong. So RoShawn Evans is here tonight, and he's going to tell us his story. He is also the director of Pure Justice. And remember, we try to educate through stories. So it's on you, RoShawn. Tell us your story. Tell us where you come from, how you started, how you were raised, how you got in trouble, and why you moved to Houston. Because his trouble did not happen in Houston like many of our guests.
Yeah, okay, well, I was born in Hollywood, California.
Okay.
I don't remember it. Well, I never seen it until I was 26. Sometime as a baby, I don't know exactly what age, I was somewhere, I believe in like a couple months. I went to Flint, Michigan with my mom. My mom, she was young when she had me. My father, I think he might be like 11 years older than her. But she went back home with her family in Flint, Michigan. And that's pretty much where I was raised, with my mom's side.
How was it being raised in Flint, Michigan? Was it like was it a lot of crime or drugs, or was it like a nice little Bible Belt community?
So I love my city.
Okay.
And they face challenges. Now, if you're not from there, you may say it's rough, but ultimately, you know, like the city, once they pulled General Motors out and other businesses, it's like the revenue that people would normally get in the household, it was gone.
I see.
So, like...
Were you of age when they pulled General Motors? Do you remember that, or did you hear about it? Like did you experience it like you were 15 and you remember when all your friends, families lost their jobs, or did you just more hear about it? I think that happened in the 70s.
Yeah.
I think I remember people coming from Michigan, and they would have these bumper stickers that said, "I turned out the lights." Like they were moving to Houston in droves in the late 70s and early 80s from Michigan. I don't know what city, but we got a lot of people from Michigan.
Yeah.
So I think it was around that time. I remember that.
I don't know exactly when General Motors shut down, but my great-grandma and my auntie worked at General Motors.
Okay.
And they were doing very well. Like every brand new Cadillac, they had it.
Okay.
You know, but...
It shut it down. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
So tell us how you got in trouble. What grade were you in? Were you still in school?
I was. I was in the 11th grade.
Okay.
I was 17 years old. Well, first I moved out of my mom's house a little early.
Why'd you do that?
Like I said, my mom was young when she had me, and I feel like, well, it was a single parent home, so she was doing a lot of stuff. You know, she was going to school, She working full time. She trying to take care of me. It's a single parent home. So for the
Just
most,
one child?
yep. Until I turned 12, I got a little sister, which was 12 years later. But for the most part, like growing up, watching my mom, you know, try to take care of me, she would be in certain relationships where, you know, men would put hands on her and stuff like that. It was scary, you know, to me as a kid. That's some of the stuff I was going through.
A lot for a young man.
Yeah, but ultimately, growing up, I feel like, you know, since she was still trying to get herself together, you know, and I'm sure it was a whole lot of stuff she was dealing with that I had no idea what she was dealing with. At the same time, I was dealing with puberty, you know, in a single parent home. We had a rough relationship growing up. And I ended up leaving in the 7th grade.
7th grade.
I was forced back home in the 7th. I left in the 8th. I had to go back home. And then in the 9th grade, I left and I said, I just can't do it no more. And I said, I am never going back to my mom's house. And I made sure not to go to any family members' homes. I didn't want to be found. You know, I just wanted to be safe. And when I got in trouble at the age of 17, that's where the judge ultimately made me go back home when he put me on ankle monitor. My charge was touching a minor.
But how did you get charged like that? I mean, was it a parent that reported it? I mean, how did that happen?
It was an angry parent.
Well, let's talk about what led up to it. Tell me the friendship that you had with this girl to lead up to that. What type of friendship was it?
So I actually met this girl when I was a kid and didn't even realize this was her until I was in my 20s and my cousin explained it to me.
Okay.
But there used to be a church, I believe it was on Saginaw Street in Flint, Michigan, where it would be this girl that used to follow me around the church. I was not into female, so I would, like, she was kind of, to me, she was creepy. You know, I always try to get away from her, you know, because, like, I wasn't there yet. But, so that was the first time I met her. The second time I met her, I was actually in middle school, and it was a football game, and I don't know this girl, but I knew this girl, but I bumped into her mama, and when her mama seen me at halftime, the mama was infatuated with me. She was like, oh my God, you so handsome, and you so this, and oh my God, you gotta meet my daughter. And she walked around the entire halftime looking for her daughter, which was a cheerleader for Central High School. And by the time she found her daughter, halftime was over and we exchanged numbers, not because I met a female that I wanted to talk to, but it was pressed by the mom. So we exchanged phone numbers.
So you gave the mother your phone number?
No, I gave her daughter my number.
Okay.
You know, she like, you gotta give my daughter your number, give him the number. And I was staying with my mama at this time. This girl literally called me so much that, like, we had caller IDs back then, the little block ones. Like, she called my house so much, back to back, over and over. I think after about maybe like the third day, I memorized her number. She called so much, and my mama would start cussing her out because she was calling so much. Like, my mama was rough. So my mama cussed her out, told her don't call the house no more. She stopped calling the house. Then the girl started writing letters to my house. This was before I left. So she started sending letters to my house because she couldn't call me. We, I think, probably hooked up maybe one time, if that. I know because we went to like a movie theater, but I can't recall hooking up after that. Like, we went to a movie theater, it was me, my cousin, her, and some other girl. Last time I seen her. But I was pretty popular in school. Like, my family, you know, was popular. I was popular. I was, like, I had nice clothes, nice shoes. I was smart, you know, a good personality. I wrestled. I was a freestyle, folk style, Greco, All-American. So everybody would be around me. So I had, I liked girls, but it was a lot of them around me, you know. So like if you wasn't really like trying to, you know, talk to me, it really didn't matter to me because people was always like in my face. I had, I used to collect everything, letters, you know, like I get letters regularly from girls at school. Like when people write their phone numbers down, like I put everything in a shoebox. I put all the numbers in the shoebox, all my letters. I kept all them and I put them in, you remember the little basketball card books? I had those books, but I had them like with my letters and stuff. Like I just kept them like throughout my years. But one day I took all the phone numbers out of my shoebox and I put them in alphabetical order. And after I put them in alphabetical order, I had this little phone book that I had got. And I wrote everybody's number down again in alphabetical order in my book. So growing up, like I said, I was out on my own, doing my own thing. No, I wasn't perfect. Yes, I was surviving. I was around the big homies. The big homies went to college before I got to college, of course. I was still in high school. And this one particular year where my homies, since a lot of them that wrestled with me, they was like 2 years older than me. When they went to college for a Christmas break, they came back home, you know, and they came from everywhere, Eastern, Central, whatever school they came from. And now since I'm the one who's still there, they like, Ro, call some girls over. And I'm like, I ain't got nothing. And they like, dude, you the one still in the city. Yes, you do. You know, we know you got some girls. And I went upstairs to my room and got that little book that I put everybody's phone number in alphabetical order. And I don't know why I chose to call her that night. But I called her that night. And it was late. When I called her, we didn't even have no conversation like that. You know, it was like, hi, can I speak to LaToya? That's her actual name too. It's LaToya Raquel English. I say, hey, can I speak to LaToya? She like, this me, you know, all excited. And I'm like, hey, can you get out? She like, yeah. She give me the address. I'm like, cool. I get off the phone with her. That was it. I go downstairs. My homeboy, it was a lot of us. I used to hang around with a lot of dudes. So in the house, it was me, Terrell, which is a twin. His twin brother was Darnell, but he wasn't there. It was Tank, Clyde, this dude named Rashad, and my name is RoShawn. And then I don't know who else was there, but I know when we went to go pick her up, I was in the back seat behind the passenger. Clyde was driving. Was it Clyde or Tank? But it was me, Clyde, and Tank who went and picked her up. I was in the back
So
seat.
you didn't call but one girl?
That was it.
What was everybody on? What was the? What's the plan?
Yeah, I mean, what's the plan?
They
Why?
said call some girls. I called a girl.
but
But
just
that's
one
not
girl.
some girls. We're trying to understand why you just called one girl and you got a
She
book
said-
full of girls.
I know, but she said come pick her up. I'm like, I'm on my way.
So what is the homies thinking?
I don't know. I ain't asked them.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But she said come get me. You know what I'm saying? We got in the car. We went to go pick her up. Before we got to her house, because Flint is really small. It don't take you that long to get nowhere. Before we made it to her house, she called me and said, do not come to my house, meet me at the corner. I'm not thinking nothing of it. I'm like, all right, we almost there, so come on. When we pulled up to the corner, she was outside on the corner. She hopped in the back seat. As soon as she got in the car, she went straight in my pants. She was touching me. I'm up under her shirt. I'm touching her. My homies is like looking in the mirror, looking in the back. You
But
know,
there's other guys in the back seat, right?
No, it's just me and her.
Okay.
Yeah, I just needed them to go take me to go get her because
Okay.
I didn't have a car. So they looking, they laughing. You know, I'm the little homie because normally I don't have the women. Normally all the women there for them.
Right.
You know, I'm just like the little dude. But now
Right.
since they gone for college, you know, I'm there. I called her and it was late. You know, so we in the back seat, we touching each other, and then we got back to the house. When we get back to the house,
Your house or hers?
we was in, so I stayed with my homeboys, the twins I was telling you about. I stayed with one of their girlfriends.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had a little room over her house while they would be in college. It'd just be me and her.
I see.
Yeah. So we get to the spot. When we go to the spot, she went in the house before we got in the house. It's other people in the house. We outside. They laughing and joking with me, you know, because I don't never have, you know what I'm saying?
Girl.
Normally, the older girls with them, they like, nah, I'm the little dude. So we laughing and joking, you know, we kicking it outside. I go in the house, I look around, I see everybody downstairs. I don't see her. And I'm like, where's LaToya at? They like, she upstairs. So I went upstairs to my room. She was in my room, in my bed, butt naked.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I did the same thing. I took my clothes off, I got in the bed with her, and I couldn't get an erection because it was like my homies, they was everywhere. Like they was like they came in the room, they was on this side of the bed, they was standing.
Oh, so they were standing there watching y'all.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's no good.
They was standing in the door. They was looking through this little vent because it was hollow, and I couldn't get an erection to save my life. Like I was trying, but every time I get, you know what I'm saying, like I thought, you know, maybe
I'm getting close,
it'll
yeah.
go back down.
Right.
And I got literally hard enough to ejaculate on the floor.
Right.
And where I ejaculated at was where her coat was, but I never, like we
Touched
couldn't,
her.
like we couldn't do it. Like we touched each other, but I just couldn't.
It wasn't,
you know.
there wasn't no intercourse.
Right. So we ended up putting our clothes back on. You know, she looking at me like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, but. So we get our clothes back on. We walking back down the stairs. She behind me, and she stopped like 2 stairs from the bottom. And when she stopped, it's this dude named Rashad that went to Carmen. Now, they whispering back and forth in each other's ear.
She and him?
Them two. And they looking at me, they laughing and cracking jokes, but I ain't care. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like, whatever.
Whatever, yeah.
You know, like, you ain't my girl, plus, like, it is what it is. And
Right.
so they end up, they went back upstairs. They did whatever it was that they did, which we all know what they did, but I wasn't in the room. Some other people went back up there, you know, came down, whatever. Then they all came downstairs. She sitting on the couch with bro. They laughing and joking and chilling. We all sitting in the house with people playing cards and, you know, and then my phone started ringing. Back to back. It was this girl's mama. So now this girl's mama is calling my phone, and I wasn't gonna answer it. I took her the phone, and she didn't want to answer the phone.
So she knew where she was. So her mama told her mother where she was going.
No. She snuck away from the house, and I figured that out years later after I went through my paperwork.
But why would she call you?
Well, when she
mama.
told me, because you remember we had the big block caller IDs. So when you call the house, the number is on the ID.
She saw where you called her.
Right.
Okay.
So now the mama is blowing my phone up. I won't answer the phone because it ain't my mama, and she calling back to back to back to back to back. When I get a girl the phone, she looking, she like, and you could see the fear in her face when I'm like trying to give her the phone, and it's like, I don't want to talk to your mama. So after a while, when the mama stopped calling, that's when the girl was like, okay, y'all can take me back home now. It was me, Tank, and Clyde. We dropped her back off at home. When we dropped her off, she said, don't take me home, drop me off at the corner. I printed these out for y'all.
What is this?
This is some of my paperwork. I didn't want to print everything out because it was too much.
Oh, okay. So
But-
this is part of the police report.
In this paperwork, you know, this is where I realized that when she asked her mama to come to my house, the mama told her she cannot go nowhere. And she told her daughter she can only go outside in the front yard. She said, go in the front yard, don't go nowhere else. That's it. And LaToya was like, all right. But after her mama told her not to go nowhere and only go in the front yard is where she went and got back on the phone and called me and said, don't come to my house, meet me at the corner. So I never knew she snuck away from the house.
Right.
And to be honest with you, as a kid, if I knew she snuck away from the house, it probably wouldn't have mattered to me anyway because I ain't got to deal with your mama.
And you were 17, right?
Right.
And she was what, about 15?
She was 15. This happened for the Christmas break. Her birthday is in the beginning of December, like December 6th. So her birthday was in 2 weeks. We're a year and 4 months apart. But since she fell between the ages of 13 and 16, they considered her a minor, even though the law states you cannot legally have sex unless you have a legal parent or guardian's consent, or you have to be 18 years of age, and I was 17. So I was like in a gray area. I wasn't 18, so I couldn't legally have sex either, but yet I wasn't in between 13 and 16 either. So since she fell in between them ages, they considered her a minor, which in all actuality, we both should have been minors.
But you didn't have sex with her.
I didn't. My original charge was, it wasn't touching a minor. My original charge was kidnapping.
Okay.
So when the police came.
So the mama called the police on you.
When y'all wouldn't answer the phone,
Right.
She just
Worried.
said,
Yeah,
call the
worried.
police.
Yeah. So.
I'm assuming.
Yeah. She and in the packet, she said it was like, and I don't know the times, but it was like 1 something in the morning. She told her daughter she can go out in the front yard.
And that's crazy for a mother to say you can go out at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
And do what?
It was 1 something in the morning.
Yeah, what you gonna do at 1 o'clock in the morning outside?
And then I'm gonna put stipulation on you going outside at 1 o'clock. Well, don't go out, don't leave the yard.
Yeah.
But you can go out and watch the stars and the moon.
Yep. So it was 1 something in the morning, where she told her daughter she can go outside. 1:20. It was 1:20 a.m. About 15 minutes later, literally, she looked outside, didn't see her daughter outside, so she said she got in her vehicle and started circling the block looking for her daughter. That's where she went back home, called the police, reported kidnapping. So now they got this report on kidnapping. After we dropped her off, the police did come back to the house where we were, but wasn't none of us there because the twins, they mama had just got out of prison and they wanted to cook her a Christmas dinner. So the mama was staying with their grandparents and we went over there for a Christmas celebration for the mama that just returned home from prison, and the other twin was the only one that was still left at the house. And when the police came to the house, they talked to him, they searched the house. He came back and told me the police was looking for me for kidnapping, and I thought he was lying. I thought it was a joke, because I know we didn't kidnap nobody, and he didn't have no, like, seniority or severity in his voice. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, hey, bro, you know the police was looking for you last night. And I'm like, yeah, okay. He like, for real? I'm like, yeah, okay. He like, all right. I'm like, all right. And we left it at that. You know, that was it. He ain't say nothing else about it. A couple weeks later, I had bumped into my assistant wrestling coach. And he was like, RoShawn, what have you got yourself into? And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then he told me. But now when he told me what happened, I knew exactly what he was talking about, but the charge changed from kidnapping to rape. So I told him everything that happened from the beginning to the end, and he told me to write a written statement and turn myself in to the Flint Police Department the next day. So what I did was I went home because I haven't talked to the girl since. I called her, and when I called her, she answered the phone. It was like music in the background. You know, she answered the phone like she was really at a party, like, hello? I'm like, hey, LaToya, what's going on? As soon as I asked her what's going on, she ain't talk. She ain't saying nothing. She just breathing in the phone like, I'm like, LaToya. She ain't saying nothing. I hung up. I called her again from another phone because I know we got caller ID. She answered the phone again like she was at a party. Hello? Music in the background, hear my voice, wouldn't say nothing. I did it 3 times. All 3 times when she heard my voice, she didn't say nothing. So I'm like, okay, I'm not about to keep calling you. I wrote a 16-page statement from the beginning to the end, from the time I called her, from the time I picked her up, how she told me not to come to her house, to meet her at the corner, how when she got in the car, she went straight in my pants. I went under her shirt. We touching each other. I told them how when we got to the house, me and my homies was outside talking, and she went in before us, and by the time I got in the house, she was in my room, butt naked in the bed. I told them I tried to do the same thing. I couldn't get an erection because everybody was in the room. I told them that we ain't have sex. Like, I told them everything.
And you told them that she had sex with the other guy?
I ain't tell them that because I didn't want to get nobody else in trouble. Like, and if this girl was willing to get me in trouble with like a kidnapping or a rape, like, do I really like want to have somebody else dealing with this?
Let me ask you something, because you're 17, and
Mm-hmm.
I understand 17 can't rationalize and figure out really nothing at this level. Was anybody around you advising you and suggesting how to deal with this, the homies, or someone say you shouldn't do this, don't write the statement,
Nah.
don't turn yourself in?
We was all in the same
Not because the
age group.
coach told him to write it.
Right.
Well, I'm just saying other people in your life besides.
But the coach
the
should have told
chance
him. The
encounter
coach
with the
should have had him talk to a lawyer.
But my coach, my assistant wrestling coach, he know me. He know who I am, and he was police. You know what I'm saying? Like we was good. You know, I was his star wrestler, and like he know I ain't lying to him, and he
Right.
like just write down exactly what you told me and turn yourself in the morning. Like
Yeah, but you didn't even tell him about the other guy either.
I told him about Rashad, but I didn't.
Put it in your statement.
Yeah. So
But what,
Like-
she didn't tell about Rashad? Why she gonna just tell
she
it on
didn't
you?
talk. The girl didn't talk. The
She
girl
didn't- she didn't talk to the
She
police?
couldn't talk.
Why?
The girl didn't say anything. Like in the investigation report, nobody speaks except the mom. Like
The mom
She
wasn't
didn't give
there.
a statement.
But the mom's not there. So how's the
oh,
mom?
oh, I'm sorry. That was in court. Actually, the girl said that that I took her upstairs. I took her clothes off
Oh my God. Why would
Yeah.
she get you in trouble if she liked you?
because she didn't want to get in trouble.
But she didn't
She
have to
already
tell
in
that. She
trouble.
already in trouble. She left home.
Nah, y'all don't understand. Like, her mama was a little, like, and I'm trying to refrain from calling them names, but the mama used to be in front of the church every Sunday. Now, I do remember that. My auntie was telling me stories too when we got older, but the mama used to be in front of the church every single Sunday, every single service, talking about her kids and, you know, how they doing this or how they doing that, or if something happening in the household. Like, the mama was a little off. Like, this, one of my friends that went to school with me, her name was Nana. We was in the same grade, that was dating one of her sons, which was older than us. When the mama found out that they was like dating, she had wrote up a contract and wanted to meet this girl and wanted her to fill the contract out, you know what I'm saying? And it was asking her questions like, have you ever been sexually intimate? How many partners have you had?
Oh my
have you
God.
ever had an STD? Have you ever had an abortion? Like stuff like that. Like, and a mama was a little abusive, just to be straight up.
That's what it
So
sound like. But she wasn't too scared of her mama. She got in the car with y'all that night.
she did.
It was
And-
something in the morning,
It-
and I'm not putting no blame anywhere,
Right.
Because I keep remember you're 17, but you're not, everybody in this involved is not 17.
Right, they 19, they like 19, 20, but nobody was older than that.
So,
Like,
and nobody raised a flag that this is a minor, like it's just like I'm not putting it on you because you're 17 and you're not really. This is not your lifestyle. This is not something you do when they're not around. Like call girls at 1 o'clock in the morning and saying what you're doing.
Because they the ones that asked you to call the girls, and they should have still had some girls left over in that city from when they went to college. You know, there should be girls that they
They went to
call.
high school with.
That went to high school with. So why they ain't calling them girls? Why they putting it on
I
you?
don't know, you know, like.
And got you. This
Other
is how
people-
kids get in trouble. From one little mistake like this.
But I do
Gets
get being 17 and being influenced by people that's older
Older,
than me.
yeah.
And the need, because you know I tell you my first addiction was acceptance and approval. And I was an athlete. And I'm not, it's about your story, but it's relatable. When I take out the bad part, I'm looking at and trying to humanize you at 17 making horrible decisions, but that's what we do at 17 though.
Yeah.
I mean, we do what adults do when adults ain't around because sometimes people are faster than others. Like,
And we influenced by our peers to do to please them. Like I want to be accepted by these older guys. I'm being the devil's advocate. So when they ask me to do stuff that I don't want to do, which was a lot about my thing happened to me, I want to be included. I want to be a part of. This make me, you know, the homie.
you know, but to be honest though, like with everything that happened, I really truly feel like you know, this wasn't nothing but an in-home issue that should have been handled at home, you know, because if she snuck away from home, like, none of us know that, and she doing what she want to do, and her mama freaked out when she couldn't find her, you know, but when she figured out that her daughter actually snuck away from the home, why would you try to ruin somebody else's life?
Anger.
So now,
Yeah.
the charge went from kidnapping to knowing they can't get me for kidnapping because they know wasn't nobody kidnapped, from rape to touching a minor. Now, when I turned myself in with this 16-page statement in the morning, the police looked at it, they read it, they disregarded it as an angry parent. They disregarded it as an angry parent. They didn't keep me in jail. They let me go, and they just gave me a court date, was just like, go to court. The entire time I was going to court, in my young, naive mind, not knowing how dangerous the system is or how dangerous it could be, I was laughing. I didn't think it was anything anybody can do to me. I'm like,
And that's the part I was alluding to earlier. Who else in your life at that time, a 17-year-old dealing with, I gotta go to court, all that, no one being involved in, we need to get you a lawyer. This could hurt you down the road. This is serious. We need to make sure this don't become part of your record.
we was all kids. I didn't even understand
But
the
but that friend that you lived with, the twin,
yeah,
the mom just got out of prison.
That's right.
So she should have known, if she knew about it, if y'all told her, since she had experience with the prison system, she should have known it was kind of dangerous. Maybe y'all didn't tell her, but it
I
seems
can't
like she
even
would have
remember.
known. Yeah.
I can't remember if we
Because she
told
just got
her
out
or
of the
not.
system, so she knew that
Yeah.
it could be a dangerous situation.
I didn't even understand, you know, why I even needed to have a lawyer. I'm like, well, as long as I tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help
Right.
me God, everything will be all right. And I'm like, what can they possibly do? You know, like,
Well, you knew you didn't have sex with her. You knew you didn't
Right.
force her. So I understand your 17-year-old mind, because you're not prepared for how things can get twisted and turned. And the girl was willing, so you're not prepared for the fact that she's going to lie now.
right.
So she's lying. So now, once she lies, is your word against hers.
But I didn't even know she lied. Though.
Did she go get a DNA test? I mean, did they do that back then? I can't remember.
I have no idea what they did.
That was
but
like 20 years ago.
one thing I do know is that I bumped into her again, like before I actually got sentenced, when I was going to court. And when I bumped into her, I was with my homies again, because they was like, when they come home from school, we there. You know, before they went to school, we was there. You know, so I bumped into her in the mall, and when I seen her, I was like, is that LaToya? They're like, yeah, it is. And I'm calling her name. I'm like, hey, LaToya. I'm like, LaToya, hey, LaToya. And when she turned around and seen me, she was with her brothers. She was with her two brothers and some other girl. I think it was one of the brothers' girlfriends or something. She turned around, she looked at me. When she looked at me, she just took off walking real fast. So I'm following behind her. She walked all the way to the exit door of the mall, went outside, and I went outside with her. And as soon as we exited the mall and she got away from her brothers, she turned around and she was just crying. She just broke down in tears like, I'm sorry, it's not me, it's my mama, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, just tell her the truth.
Tell the truth.
And she like, I tried, but she won't listen to me, and she just crying hard.
Well, why don't she write a statement on what the truth is?
Well, after she told me her mama wasn't listening and she don't know what to do, and I'm telling her to just tell the truth and she crying, I'm like, all right, whatever. And then again, though, I still didn't think they was gonna be able to do anything to me in the courtroom.
Right.
And you know what, Bibi, just thinking in hindsight, the police didn't want to implement the actual adults in the room with a minor that's nude, and they're in the room, and they didn't want to get the list of all the black males that was 19, 20. You're in the room and complicit with a minor that's whatever the charge is. You complicit. You didn't report it, so all you guys are named in this.
But they witnesses.
You're in the car with her when she left. What I'm saying is, not being connected with the incident in the report and as witnesses to account for what happened if it went to trial.
Did you name them though? Who was there? See, he didn't tell them, so they don't know.
And then it's like, with the law enforcement, I truly feel like law enforcement really just looked at it as an angry parent because that's what it was.
Right, right.
they
Whenever,
would
and that's what happens when women, angry parents, find out that their girls are fast. They always blame the guy. That's what statutory rape is usually about, because those are consensual people. It's just the girl is not of age.
But you did go to court with a court-appointed attorney.
My wrestling coach, because like I say, they love me. Like my wrestling coach, he loved me. He couldn't come to court with me because he was working. He was coaching on his side, you know, like
Didn't they
after
assign
work.
you a
But
attorney?
yeah, so he had a friend that he went to school with. His name was David Grant. That was my lawyer. He gave him $1,000 to represent me.
Wow.
Yeah.
He couldn't save a 17-year-old kid.
So whatever happened, did you go to trial? Did you get convicted? Did you have to go to prison, or did you get probation, or what?
So
And 17 in Michigan is an adult or a child
you're not an adult until you're 18 years of age.
in Michigan.
Right.
Because you know in Texas it's 17. Do you know that? Yeah, you're an adult at 17 in Texas.
Yeah, you 18.
It's
as an adult.
16 to 10 is a juvenile in our system. So in Texas, at 17, you would have been an adult.
Yeah, it's 18 in Michigan. But
But like I said, in Texas, since we try to educate, in Texas, if you're 17 as an adult and she's 15, if she said it was consensual, then it's a
She didn't say
defense.
anything.
Yeah, but if you had a good lawyer, they'd make her say something. If it had to be consensual if she got in the car. You don't think she admitted she got in the car? Because
Yeah,
it's
she
her
said
mama
that
saying it was kidnapping.
she said I asked her that I'll ask her if she wanted to go get something to eat, even though her mama told her not to leave the front yard. And then she said after we went and got something to eat, which we ain't go get nothing to eat. We didn't go get nothing to eat. She said I asked her if I wanted her to see my house or something, and that never happened either. Like I said, she called me, was like, hey, don't come to my house, meet me at the corner. But going to court and me thinking it's a joke in my mind, thinking that nothing was going to happen to me, when I got all the way down to my sentence date, and this is where I knew it was real, my lawyer pulled me out in the hallway and he said, nobody care about what happened. Nobody care about what didn't happen. Nobody care, about your story. The only thing anybody care about is guilty or innocent. And if you say innocent, he assured me that I would get 15 years in prison. That's when my insides failed.
Oh my
That's
God.
when I died in the inside because I was only 17. So it was like, if I would have told the truth in the courtroom on what actually happened and took it to trial, he assured me that I would do my life again pretty much behind bars. So he said, if I accept the plea deal for touching a minor, that I will only get 36 months probation and 6 months ankle monitor. That's what he told me. So I said, 36 months of probation and ankle monitor beats 15 years any day. So I told him I would accept the deal. When the judge read down the deal, the judge said, you're gonna have 36 months ankle monitor, you're gonna have, 36 months probation, 6 months ankle monitor, and then he looked at my lawyer and he said, did you tell him he's gonna have to register as a sex offender? I had no idea. I never even heard the term before ever in my life. And I said, yeah. I told the judge, yeah, he did, because I didn't want
I'm
him.
scared, yeah.
Yeah. And my lawyer looked at the judge and said, you know what, Your Honor, I did not tell him about the sex offender registry. And he bent down to me and he whispered, he said, RoShawn, you're gonna have to tell law enforcement where you live for the next 10 years. In my mind, the next 10 years still beats going to prison
Right.
for 15 years.
Right.
So I took the deal. I got sentenced, like literally they ran down my stuff the day before my 18th birthday. May 27th of 2000 is when they actually told me what my deal was. I must have signed some paper on the 1st, but they ran down my sentence on May 27th, the day before my 18th birthday. And after they ran down my sentence, the judge told me the day before my 18th birthday that he's gonna allow me to stay out until May 31st. You know, and I thought, you know, it's because my birthday tomorrow. He giving me, you know, some time before I had to get put on ankle monitor or whatnot. In this paperwork, it shows my sentence date is May 37th.
May 27th?
May 31st, I'm sorry. But also in this paperwork, when they ran down my sentence on the 27th, in this paperwork and other paperwork, they backdated my birthday 2 days. So they backdated my birthday to May 26th, when my birthday is actually May 28th. And now, even though when the girl left her house and I was 17 and she was 2 weeks away from her 16th birthday and we 1 year and 4 months apart, you know, in the paperwork, it kind of gives us a 2-year age gap now, because now she's 16, and when they backdated my birthday and post-dated my sentence date, now I'm 18, which gives us a 2-year age gap, and I'm actually on that 18-year mark. And I didn't recognize that either until I was in my 20s.
Let me see. '82.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's deep.
Yeah.
So they said you had to register for 10 years, so that would have been when you're 27.
Right.
But you told me before we started you still have to register.
That's right.
So what's
So-
up with that?
I moved to Texas when I was 21 years old. And you asked me in the beginning of the show, how did I get here? I actually got here because I couldn't find myself off probation. Every time I got this close to getting off probation, they violated me some kind of way. Like, there was always a violation right at the end of my probation. And when I turned 21, and I was just looking back at everything I had been through, how I got sucked into the system at 17, how, you know, how hard life was for people around me, how people was dying, I said, if I don't leave, I'm gonna be dead or in jail. And, you know, I had another violation. And the judge told me that if I come in his courtroom again, he was sending me to prison. And I was scared. So I packed up my car and I left. I drove like 17 hours. I didn't even know where I was going.
Oh my God.
I didn't know where I was going. I had 2 pockets full of cash, a passenger seat in the back seat full of clothes and shoes and leather coats that I didn't need, a trunk full of clothes and shoes that I didn't need, you know, and I thought I was going somewhere tropical, but I've never been here. I really never been out of Michigan. I was born in California, but I've been to Ohio. I've been to Canada, but I've never really been nowhere. But I said, I'm gonna go far away
But if
from
they
this.
let you go, or were you violating
ran.
probation by leaving?
I ran. I fleed probation
Oh my
because I was afraid of going to prison.
But didn't you think if you violated probation, they'd send you to prison?
I figured Flint didn't have enough money to come all the way to Texas to come get me.
Okay.
So I drove 17 hours. I ended up somewhere in Texas. I have no idea where I was. I got a room. I got me like 8 hours of sleep, 6, 8 hours. I drove like another 6, 8 hours. I ended up in Houston, on Sam Houston and Town Park. And as soon as I got here, I was amazed at everything. You know, the highways was going in the air, like the apartments that I found. On this side of the street, stuff was written in Spanish. On this side of the street, stuff written in like some Asian language. And, you know, nobody looked like me. I got this apartment because I had the money. And before I can even take anything in the house, I was so infatuated with just Texas. I ended up walking 2.5 blocks down the road. I didn't know what I was gonna bump into, but I came across this street called Gessner. And as soon as I turned to the left, there was a McDonald's like right there on the corner. And I walked in there and I applied for a job and I got hired the same day that I got here
Oh, wow.
as a manager of McDonald's to start tomorrow. And I never managed nothing in my life before. So that was my start here. Michigan.
You still wearing McDonald's colors?
That's funny. Yeah, I did that for a couple years. Like, Michigan didn't even come get me, you know, and I did everything I was supposed to do. Like, I registered. Like, so when I got here, I went straight to the registration office. I registered. I was on once a year. And going down the line, ultimately, when my 10th year came, when I turned 27, and I thought that I was gonna get off. I'm not on probation anymore, by the way, too. So just to put that out there. But when I turned 27, I thought I was gonna get off. And when I went to the registration office, they was like, you gotta come back next year. Cause I'm like, nah, this it. They like, nah, you need to come back next year. And I was like, okay, well, maybe it's like some of them jail days, you know, when they say 72 hours when you came in on Wednesday, that don't mean you getting out on Friday, you know, you getting out on Saturday. I'm like, okay, so next year is cool. And then when I went back the next year when I was 28 and they told me I needed to come back the next year, I'm like, I say, no, I'm not. I said, nope.
Michigan said 10 years, yeah.
10 years. So then I looked up Michigan laws and I seen that like they had some kind of change from like 10 years. Now it was like a 15 year, a 20 year, and a 25 year. So I was like, okay, well, maybe the law changed and maybe I do gotta like do this for 15 years or whatever. So in the meantime, I was like, okay, I done done this long enough. I shouldn't even be on the registry. You know, let me see if I can get help getting off papers. And what I did was I had a mutual friend called LaToya English, because I'm like, if anybody got the power to get me off, it's her. She shouldn't be afraid of her mama no more because we grown. And she refused. The mutual friend called her. LaToya refused, and she was like, basically, that she don't appreciate her calling her, and I did rape her, we gang raped her, and all this other stuff.
Oh my God.
Now it went from a gang rape, and I'm like, okay,
So then if someone gang raped her, why didn't she report everybody?
right. And
So
I'm
she
like,
reporting things.
right. Now if there was,
So she was a miserable 27-year-old.
Right.
Basically 28. She was however old she wasn't happy in her life. Because a
Not-
happy person would have said, I'm sorry, and you know,
right.
let's
And
let
that's
it go.
what I thought, you know, it'd be.
Right, yeah.
You know, and if it was a gang rape, now everybody would have been to court.
Right,
You know,
right,
but
right.
I'm like, okay.
And at 28, she still could have filed on everybody. Because the statute of limitations is long for that.
Yeah, but like the only person that did anything wrong that night was her for disobeying her mama. Like we didn't
Right.
have no parent to disobey.
Right.
She snuck away, you know.
But let's get to this. We got 7
So-
minutes. You're still registering right now.
Right now.
So how are you going to get off of registration?
Okay, so now, I reached out to lawyers. They were sending me bills like, we can help you. But they was like, you got to pay $100,000, $75,000.
Oh,
I'm
no,
like,
no, no.
now how do they think I'm supposed to get this money? I work at McDonald's. You know?
Right,
Like I
right,
was
right.
literally making like $10,000 a year as a manager at McDonald's.
Right.
I'm reaching out to churches. They sending sympathy letters. I'm like, cool, 15 years, you know, that's not much longer. I've already done all these years. 15 years is around the corner. Cool. 15 years came. They refused to let me off. And that's where, when my 15 year came and they refused to let me off, I went to Michigan. I told them I ain't doing this no more. They said, if you want to get off the registry, you need to go back to Michigan, let them take you off, and never return back to Texas. I did that, and I should have printed that paper out too. So I went home, I got a clearance letter. As soon as I got my clearance letter, when I was going over my mama's house, it was a whole lot of cars parked in my mama's front yard on the grass. and they was marshals, and they arrested me when I was going to my mama's house for failure to register in Texas for my Michigan case. I don't know what's happening, and I'm telling them.
How long did you stay in Michigan this time when you were there?
I was there, I think I was there like almost my second month before they actually.
No, to get the clearance letter. How long did you have to stay there to get the clearance letter?
I can't remember.
Like
This
a
was
month, a year, 2 years?
I done it all in like 2 months.
Okay.
Yeah, but my mama came outside with the clearance letter. She gave it to the marshals. The marshals looked at the clearance letter. They didn't even want to arrest me. They was looking at the clearance letter. They like, he done everything he was supposed to do. They like, but Texas want him. Like, they literally having a conversation in front of me like I wasn't standing
But
there.
Texas has to follow Michigan law.
Yeah,
I
well,
thought.
the marshals didn't want to arrest me at all. They're like, he got his paperwork. He done everything he was supposed to do. And the other one like, but Texas want him. And they're like, well, what are we supposed to do? And then they was like, Mr. Evans, don't say nothing. And I wasn't saying nothing anyway. I was handcuffed on their car waiting on them to figure out what they was going to do. My mama sitting there, she's scared. They called Texas to see if they still wanted me. Texas said yes. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I thought that maybe this was some kind of way to uplift the warrant. You know, lock me up, let me go, warrant gone, can't lock me back up for it. My 30th day, the day that I was supposed to be released back to the streets, my mama and everybody was outside waiting on me. I had like 2 hours left before I was gonna get released back to my people in Michigan. A prison bus pulled up.
In Michigan. This is still in Michigan.
Yeah, they extradited me back to Texas. It took me like a couple weeks to get to Michigan. We was going from state to state, dropping people off, picking them up. Nobody knew where I was for like 2 weeks. And then when I finally got here, as soon as I got here, I couldn't make no phone calls because all my people was up in Michigan. They didn't know where I was for 2 weeks. I had this court-appointed lawyer that came to see me. I explained to her my story on how I shouldn't have been in the system anyway, you know. And
But
how
now
my
you don't
whole-
have the clearance letter.
Right. I don't have a clearance letter. And this what that lawyer told me. She said, if you give us $2,000, we would act like none of this ever happened and we'll let you go right now. And I looked at her and I said, where do you think I'm gonna get $2,000 from? Ain't no
I'm in jail.
ATMs in here.
I'm
I
in
said, I
jail.
can't make no phone calls. Everybody getting free phone calls.
What was the lawyer's name?
I can't remember. But it was a white lady though.
That don't sound legal.
That don't sound ethical at all.
That don't sound legal at all.
That was her exact words. Give us $2,000, we'll act like none of this ever happened.
That doesn't sound legal at all.
She left, came back, offered me 6 months state jail. I say, I'm not.
For what? Oh, for not registering.
I say, I'm not taking no deals because I shouldn't be here anyway. She looked at me and laughed. It was a chuckle. She left, came back, offered me 2 years prison. I said, I'm not taking that. She said, if you don't take this deal, I'm gonna postpone your court date out 30 days and I can assure you you're gonna get more time. I said, I'll pay the $2,000. She said, you don't have that deal no more, it's off the table. I said, I'll take the 6 months state jail. She said, the only deal you got is the 2 years prison. And if you don't take this deal, we're gonna push your court date out 30 days and I'm gonna assure you get more time. And I just figured that she would because she went from paying them to 6 months to 2 years. I signed a plea deal, they sent me to prison.
So you had to go to prison for this?
1953521, that's my Texas
For how
number.
long?
2 years. I got out 4 months. I had to do the rest of my time
Oh my God, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Let me say, this
Did you ever get, well, let me ask you this. Did you ever get the clearance letter? Somebody could have gotten a copy of that clearance letter from the court in Michigan.
I had just got to Texas. They didn't care about none of that.
But I'm just saying, but you can get it.
I got it now.
I'm just saying, but your Texas lawyer could have requested it and subpoenaed it from there, or requested it and paid $5 to get
You told
it.
me you registered it in Texas. How they charged it when you was going to report every year here in Texas?
And you were back in Michigan.
And I did what I was supposed to do in Michigan.
So
now you got a record here for something that
Failure to register.
for failure to register, and
So
you
that's-
still register.
Yep.
So for the sake of time, bring us to what you do today
Yeah,
and
'cause
about
we
how
just
you
have
went
3
to
months,
school
three.
and graduated with all these honors and what you do for a living today.
Okay, well, so I want to say I don't believe in selfish advocacy.
You got
When
90
people-
seconds.
Okay, well, So our organization is Pure Justice. I am the co-founder and organizing director. We work to bring fairness and equity to the criminal legal system, as well as create economic opportunities for people that's impacted by the system. So we work around housing, bail reform. Like, one of our #1 goals is to end mass incarceration. That's primarily what we do. We work to end mass incarceration, but not just for people with my case, but for all people dealing with the system. I've graduated with a double degree in political science from HCC and UHD. I graduated with a 3.7. I graduated with honors for both degrees.
What year was this?
2019 and 2021.
Okay.
But in your quest with your organization, have you found a lawyer? Because it sounds like you need to do a writ of habeas corpus on that. I mean, it sounds like you got to get your. I mean, because sounds like that was a wrongful conviction to me. I don't understand that.
I have 2 lawyers working to completely clear my record right now. They have done 5 FOIA requests, and they done it to the Michigan police, the Flint Township police, and everybody is saying they don't have anything with my name on it. So they still trying to figure out how to get my paperwork so they can actually get me off the.
They don't have the paperwork. They don't have
anything.
They don't even have the clearance letter.
They say they have nothing with my name on it. Nothing.
Well, who
at
kept
all.
the clearance letter?
It's on my computer. I have one printed out. My mama had one.
So you have a clearance letter. So your lawyers have the clearance letter.
Yeah, but I'm back on. Texas put me back on.
But why is Texas doing something that Michigan didn't want to do?
I don't know,
get
but
it.
I got to get off. So I'm going this summer. They're going to take me off again.
Who, Michigan?
Michigan. And I have the 2 lawyers working to completely clear the record.
Okay. Well, let's pray for you that they get that done, because that's horrible. It's horrible that you had to spend prison when you didn't go to prison for the case in the first place. That's crazy.
Oh, and I just want to say this. My charge is a misdemeanor, punishable up to only 2 years with a fine max $500. So, like, the charge Texas gave me, which was a felony, they gave me 2 years when my maximum punishment on a misdemeanor for touching a minor that snuck away from her home, the max was 2 years.
That's crazy.
So-
That's crazy. In Texas, if you can do 2 years, or they consider that a felony, even though Michigan might not have.
I want you to mention your document.
They're telling me to wrap up, so mention it fast.
Okay, well, I wrote 4 books, Stolen Identity. You can dig off into my story and tell you how I actually got sucked into the criminal legal system when I was a 17-year-old boy and the things I had to go through. There's a follow-up sequel to tell you how I got here. I also put it in a graphic so people who don't actually have a lot of time to read or have challenges, they can get it in a graphic, and then you can get the film. That's RoShawn's Journey Justice.
All right, and so they're telling us to wrap up. So Danny, tell me what your project is at the church.
So I work in reentry.
Quickly.
Path of Freedom, St. John's downtown. Shout out to Pastor Tiffany and Pastor Rudy. 2019 Crawford Street, Houston, Texas. We meet every Thursday, 5:30 to 7:30 p.m.
For returning citizens, and that's also my church, and I also work with Danny on that project. All right, thank you so much for watching. This was a very good story. Usually stories like yours we do in 2 parts because you had too much to do, but we didn't know you had that much to say. So we usually try to invite you back. They're shutting us down. Thank you. Thank you for
Really
watching.
good. The hot topic in the news this week. He's been charged with a crime. This is a show where